Alright, so here we are. This is the first video for Original Fire Productions. And essentially what this channel is going to be is it's going to be teens like me. I'm going to have special guests here on this channel that like what I like to call real music. A lot of that's going to be rock, but truly I have a passion for every genre, except one. That's country music, but even that I like country influenced music. And so yeah, this channel is going to be featuring mainly this, ranking the discographies of certain artists, and that's just what I like to do. I've done it for years since I got into rock music, and I'll probably make a video, who knows when. I'm just pumping these out, but I'll probably make one on the origins of how I got into rock music, how I was a sappy little teenage boy who liked Fetty Wap, all the famous trap rappers of the era. Hip-hop, it holds a special place in my heart, but I've definitely gone pretty far away from mainstream trap artists, I'll say that. But rock is truly my passion. You can see here, got some great bands. These are some of my absolute all-time favorites behind me. Here, this is just, just doing this on the fly and recording on my phone here, on a little tripod, and there's not a lot of production exactly going into these, but I'm just trying to talk some music. They're really trying to show that there is still a heart for old music, rock music. Rock is not dead. Teenagers, we have a place in rock, and hopefully we can continue. That's what it's all about. Original Fire, that's a great Audio Slave song from their third record, and it's just all about carrying on the torch. The original fire, it's dead and gone, the fire inside moves on, and we are here at Original Fire Productions. So finally, for why you're here, I'm here to rank this band, the Beatles, the Fab Four. They're up there on the top. I'm here to rank their discography, all of their studio albums. I'm not going to count Yellow Submarine. A lot of people probably would count it. It's half George Martin, the fifth Beatle, half score by him, and the other half is material. I really like Hey Bulldog. I'll shout that song out. Love Hey Bulldog. There's a lot of great non-album singles by the Beatles. Fantastic songs. Don't Let Me Down. Obviously, Hey Jude, I Want to Hold Your Hand. That's one of my favorite early Beatles, probably is, like pre-Rubber Soul songs. That song's amazing. One of the best feel-good songs. But anyways, we're going to jump into it. In my notes here. So yeah, I'm going to go least to best. So worst album to best album. Honestly, this is all just opinion. I want this to be a chance to talk to people. There's, as I said, the rock isn't dead, but there's certainly less people to talk about it with. It's not as popular. It's definitely not the mainstream, and teenagers are few and far between that do like it. We have a burning passion for it if we do, but it is hard to find people sometimes. So the internet is a great tool to find people to talk about music with. So I'd love to hear your opinion. Obviously, this is just mine. This is not the definitive ranking of the Beatles albums. There is no definitive ranking. It's all subjective. So this is just how I rank them. I've liked the Beatles for quite a while. They were, after it took me a little bit after I got, because I was into kind of harder stuff, punkier stuff. And I kind of wrote the Beatles off. They were a pop band. I always thought that the Stones were better when I started, but honestly, I like the Beatles a lot more than I love the Rolling Stones, but I actually like the Beatles far more. They're one of my top bands of all time. But yeah, we're gonna go ahead and jump into the discography. I'd love to hear your ranking in the comments. That would be fantastic. But we're gonna start off with the Beatles from 1963, their sophomore album, and this album is solid. They don't have a bad album. You know, they are the Beatles. They don't have a stinker. All these albums are pretty fantastic. Um, with the Beatles though, it was kind of, you know, back in the '60s, bands had to kind of pump out albums. They had to release them subsequently, you know, within the same year usually. And the debut, Please Please Me, that was the debut, you know, the first album. And within the same year, 1963, they had to release with the Beatles as well. But you know, this album has some fantastic tracks. All My Loving, that is one of the best. Just an amazing pop song. It's one of the best early Beatles songs. It's one of my favorites. It's a lot of covers, a lot of good covers. I'll say that. Please, Mr. Postman is fantastic. Roll Over Beethoven, great Chuck Berry classic that they do great. It Won't Be Long is a great opener. You Really Got a Hold on Me is good. It's just I don't know. There's a lot of songs that you can tell they didn't put a lot of that Beatles heart into. There's a lot of filler on here. But that's not to say don't give it a listen, because I mean, these songs, hell, All My Lovin', I listen to that all the time. There's a lot of just great songs on here. Roll Over Beethoven, that's a really classic song that a lot of artists have covered. ELO, you know, countless others. So that is unfortunately the bottom of the barrel for me. Still a good album though. On to my next least favorite, Beatles for Sale from 1964. And another song that has a lot of covers. You know, the Beatles still, I wouldn't say they're trying to find themselves, but they're caught up in a lot of things. They're caught up in Beatlemania. You know, they already have a lot of hits, and they got to keep pumping out these albums. And this is just kind of one of the ones that they maybe didn't put all their heart and soul into. But there's some great songs here. No Reply, I'm a Loser, fantastic beginning. Rock and Roll Music, that's another great Chuck Berry cover. I love their version of it. It's rockin'. That's one of the first big, you know, rockin' Beatles songs, really. I'll Follow the Sun, the beautiful I'll Follow the Sun. That song gets me every time. It's another one of my favorite early Beatles songs. And 8 Days a Week, great song. So yeah, Beatles for Sale, pretty similar to with the Beatles. Not much separates them for me. Moving on to an album that I think is a step up from the latter two. The debut, 1963's Please Please Me. The song has some absolute classics that you all know. I Saw Her Standing There. The title track, Love, Love Me Do. You know, just fantastic melodies all over this. Their cover of Twist and Shout is iconic. It's amazing. There's a Place is great. Just really solid stuff. You know, there's some filler on here. It's not perfect Beatles, but hell, they were teenagers when they made it. I mean, it's just fantastic. Put them on the map in the UK and also in America. So on to where this is. I think this album is another pretty big step up from Please Please Me. Those first three albums are kind of, you know, they're fun. I don't revisit them a ton. Yeah, they really just feel good songs. They have obviously some standout tracks, but they don't work as well as cohesive albums, I'd say. But next up for me is 1965's A Hard Day's Night. And this album, just the beginning is immaculate. I mean, no one has ever been able to crack the code of that mysterious opening chord for the title track. And the title track, it's rockin', A Hard Day's Night. That's a fantastic song. If I Fell and I Love Her, gorgeous Beatles love songs from earlier in their career. Can't Buy Me Love, that's when I think their songwriting started to get a lot better on these albums. Can't Buy Me Love's fantastic. Things We Said Today, When I Get Home, I mean, these are all fantastic songs for the most part. An album that I like a little bit better, not too much more than A Hard Day's Night. A lot of people I know like A Hard Day's Night the best out of the early Beatles period, the pre-Rubber Soul era. And my favorite out of that era is Help from 1965. Obviously the title track, we all know it. It's a great rockin' tune. You've Got to Hide Your Love Away, just another gorgeous song. A lot of gorgeous songs. Kind of mellow, but still feel good in a way. They're just beautiful. They touch the soul. Ticket to Ride. Everybody loves Ticket to Ride. I've Just Seen a Face. It's fantastic. You Like Me Too Much. That's a good George Harrison song. That's actually, say it now, my favorite Beatle, George Harrison. Love his solo career. I love everything he did with the Beatles. He had a certain tenderness to him, soulfulness that was just really touching to me when I really got first into the Beatles. I love McCartney too. They're my two favorite Beatles. But, and then of course, Yesterday, the immaculate Yesterday. Who doesn't know that song? And after that, I really think this is where the Beatles became the Beatles. Was in '65 after they had released Help, which they were really going up and up, as you can tell from they almost right from the start. They're getting better with every album. But for me, the big turning point was with Rubber Soul. That's not my next album. But next for me on the list is going to be Magical Mystery Tour from 1967. And this album, it's quite trippy. It's they were definitely getting into LSD and a lot of psychedelic drugs. Bob Dylan introduced them to. This album, it's never. I don't know if it's overrated or not. I think some of the songs on it are a little overrated. I love obviously the classics: Penny Lane, Strawberry Fields Forever. All You Need Is Love. I mean these songs are absolutely fantastic, but I've always thought they're not quite as up to par with some of the other Beatles songs from the other albums. Hello Goodbye, though, that is absolutely one of my favorite Beatles songs. The crazy and ridiculous I'm the Walrus is on here. But yeah, those songs are great. Strawberry Fields Forever, really, I do actually like that song a lot. Penny Lane, I've always thought it's a little overrated. I'm sorry if that offends any of you. I know a lot of people love and adore Penny Lane, and it's a great song. It's a great song. I just don't think it lives up to the rest of their catalog. And All You Need Is Love, another great feel-good song. Yeah, next up for me is going to be 1970's Let It Be, their final album released as a band. I'm going to say right now, I like the Let It Be Naked version far better. It's just a lot cleaner of a record. It ends on Let It Be. It really should be the closer. I have no idea why it's in the middle of the original album cut, but it's just a lot cleaner sounding record, and then the recordings are cleaner. They added Don't Let Me Down, one of my all-time favorite Beatles songs. And I think this album is quite underrated, actually. A lot of people have it kind of toward the bottom of the Beatles catalog. I think it's actually in the upper echelon. Really, I think it should be talked about with, Sgt. Pepper's, Rubber Soul, White, obviously we're getting to all this, but yeah, this album is just fantastic. There's a couple stinkers, filler tracks on the original cut, but Let It Be Naked really is one of the best Beatles albums. If you haven't heard the Let It Be Naked version, and you don't like this version, check out Let It Be Naked. It's fantastic. But just absolute classic. Two of Us. It's one of my favorite love songs. It's beautiful. I Mean Mine, great George Harrison track. Across the Universe, Dig a Pony, I've Got a Feeling, all great Lennon songs. Get Back, that's a really blues rocker. Love Get Back, a lot of fun to play. Long and Winding Road and Let It Be, two of the most beautiful Beatles songs that get me every time, especially Let It Be. That's the first Beatles song I ever heard and liked. I've liked it since I was a kid, far before I even started loving rock. I loved Let It Be. And I don't know, this album's it's always been pretty special to me. And I think I have it higher than a lot of people do. But anyways, next up for me is I actually own the next 5 except for one, but we'll get to that. But next up for me is the Beatles' Turning Point album. This is where they really became the Beatles for me. And that's 1965's Rubber Soul. So there you have it. It's the band, Fab Four. It's kind of trippy artwork, but I love it. This is just a fantastic album, top to bottom. Just Drive My Car is a really fun opener. It's an acoustic driven album, but the songwriting really just went to a whole nother level on this album. Norwegian Wood, Nowhere Man, The Word, those songs are amazing. Michelle, that's another great acoustic love song, just beautiful. Songs like Norwegian Wood are weird when you find out the meanings about burning a girl's house down when they won't have sex with you. It's just it's interesting stuff. They were starting to get into drugs at this point, and the I don't want to say sappy. They're not really sappy, but kind of the more teenage love songs, I guess you could say, started to get the kick, I guess, from the band. And then a lot of these, In My Life is just, In My Life might be my favorite Beatles track. I don't know, I might do a top 10 Beatles songs show, but In My Life is just, it's just incredible. Wait is amazing. I always end on Wait. The final, I will say about this album, the final two tracks, If I Needed Someone, it's one of my least favorite Harrison tracks. And Run For Your Life, I don't particularly like those songs too much, but the rest of the album is just fantastic. I'm Looking Through You, super fun song. The Word, super fun. Think For Yourself, that is one of my absolute favorite George Harrison Beatles songs. So underrated. Think For Yourself. I feel like that should be a Beatles classic, and it doesn't get talked up enough. You Won't See Me, another, just the whole album, just absolutely fantastic. Rubber Soul, amazing. From 1965, and the next album, I do not own it on vinyl. I've been meaning to get it for a while now, but I don't have it, and that is Revolver. And a lot of people would have this maybe a 1 or 2, and I don't blame them. It is groundbreaking. It's incredible from top to bottom. Taxman, an amazing bassline, great songwriting from George Harrison. For No One, just incredible. Another probably top 10 Beatles song for me. The super trippy Tomorrow Never Knows, the backwards guitar solos of I'm Only Sleeping, just the really trippy, weird stuff, but it works amazing because the songwriting is still there. Got to Get You Into My Life, another one of my absolute favorites. That's one of my dad's favorites. That is actually his favorite Beatles song. It's really special and important to me. Just such a feel-good tune. Obviously, the Eleanor Rigby. I mean, what else needs to be said about that tune? And it's an amazing album, top to bottom, groundbreaking. The band really changed for the better, and after that, they really released nothing but near perfect material. So after Revolver, these have always been my 3 favorite Beatles albums. It's never even really been a discussion. The order has flip-flopped on 2 and 3. My 1 I knew was going to be my 1, but this album and the other album are very close. But number 3 for today, this list could always change, but honestly the rest of my list I'm pretty set with. These are really the only 2 I had to really think about hard, but it's going to be Sgt. Pepper's for me at number 3. Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band, obviously. Ranked by number 1 by Rolling Stone all time. I mean, this album is just amazing. Look at this fantastic cover art of the band there. Just groundbreaking stuff here. I mean, this album, a lot of people would say changed the face of rock forever. It certainly opened the door for psychedelic rock and progressive rock even. Just it's an amazing concept, having the band be another band with separate names and Billy Shears. It's just it's whimsical. It's very fun. It's the Beatles album I have the most fun listening to. I say it's not the best. It doesn't hit me the hardest. But it's so fun. I mean, when you got songs like Being for the Benefit of Mr. Kite and the ending of Lovely Rita, I mean, these songs they're kind of goofy. Fixing a Hole, but I love it. I mean, the songs are just whimsical. They're hilarious. Getting Better, I'm sure that's a song we can all relate to now in the time of the coronavirus. It's just, we gotta keep thinking that it's getting better every day. And just gotta almost live by that song, because it can't get no worse right now, but it will get better. The first 3 songs are amazing. Sgt. Pepper's, Little Help From My Friends, awesome Ringo vocals there. And Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds, just incredible psychedelic pop. It's just fantastic stuff. When I'm 64, it's another one of my father's favorite cuts from the Beatles. Amazing stuff. The Sgt. Pepper's Reprise I actually like more. That's just a great rockin' song. And then A Day in the Life. What else needs to be said about that song? Just that orchestral build-up. It's just genius. It's an amazing closer. And when I first heard this album, I was like, okay, that's definitely not the best album of all time. It's got some good songs, but the more I listen to it, it's just such a good time. It really works as a cohesive album, and the tracks are fantastic. The Beatles really were at their peak of creativity when they made Sgt. Pepper's. But second for me has got to be the White Album. I'm saying probably can't see it. The Beatles is written on there, but can't really see it. But for me, this album, it's long been my second favorite. You know, I've thought about moving Sgt. Pepper's ahead of it. I probably listen to Sgt. Pepper's more because this thing's a beast. It's a big, huge double album. Yeah, it's got a ton of tracks, and I think that's one gripe people have with it is it is too long. It just is. But and there is filler on here. But for me, the majority, 90% of the songs are just amazing. They're just the best. It's the best collection. Besides obviously my number one, but it's just an amazing It's super random. You know, there's super serious songs on here. There's political songs on here. And then there's the whimsical, fun Beatles song, you know. Oh, blah dee, oh, blah da. You know, say what you want about that. That's one of my favorite Beatles songs. Just so upbeat, so happy. It just, anytime I'm feeling down, put oh, blah dee, oh, blah da on, I'm instantly back in a good mood. First three tracks are incredible. Back in the USSR, obviously, that's some great rockin' tune. Dear Prudence and Glass Onion, amazing Lennon tracks. And then that is my favorite Beatles song of all time, While My Guitar Gently Weeps. It's long been that song and Let It Be I heard when I was very little, and I never forgot them. While My Guitar Gently Weeps, it always strikes a different nerve for me. It's incredible. It's Harrison at his finest. Yeah, there's goofy songs like Martha, My Dear, Rocky Raccoon, Why Don't We Do It in the Road. You know, these songs are good. Almost for me, what I wish the Beatles would have done is take these tracks, you know, like Why Don't We Do It on the Road, and Birthday, Sexy Sadie, Subway Truffle, you know, these kind of like goofy songs, which I love. I love listening to those songs. They're super fun, but the album just kind of feels random, you know, as a cohesive listening thing. I listen to these songs far more individually than I do as a whole album. This album, it's just there's so many random twists and turns. It doesn't really fit. I don't know, the track listing's a little bit odd to me. It works in some points, but I can't go without mentioning Happiness Is a Warm Gun. Obviously, The Immaculate Blackbird, those beautiful Paul McCartney songs. I Will, just another that reminds me of early Beatles stuff, like I Will. It's just, it would fit right in with that stuff, but it's fantastic. Your Blues is fun. Everybody's got something to hide except for Me and My Monkey. That's another one that, you know, they should have just condensed this down to one LP. You know, release 2 albums. I don't know, an EP of the fun songs. I don't know what they'd call it, but you know, they really just don't fit. But I love them anyway, and it's a lot of fun listening to this. Helter Skelter, obviously, just open that could be the opening to heavy metal right there in 1968. That could be it right there. Helter Skelter, just so loud. Their answer to the Who's Thunder, and it's the lightning. It's incredible. Long, Long, Long. I have to mention this song. It's a Harrison classic for me. It's super underrated. Harrison was getting really soulful and into, you know, his relationship with God, you know, what he believes, and he's an extremely soulful person, and that song always touches me. The acoustic cut of Revolution, it's great. I like the single cut more, but still amazing. It's the same song. Subway Truffle, super fun, and Cry Baby Cry, another just fantastic line song. Just chock full of incredible songs. An odd collection, but I love it. The White Album will always have a special place in my heart. And at number 1, a lot of you probably could have seen this coming and figured it out by now. It's gotta be Abbey Road. Beatles' second to last album, last one they ever recorded. Just great, fantastic back cover there. But this album, it's the perfect album, top to bottom. There's no bad song. This is one of my favorite albums of all time. Abbey Road. It encapsulates everything that the Beatles were. It left a lasting impact on everyone, and it was just the perfect. Even though like I said, they didn't really go out on it because, you know, they released Let It Be, but that was after they'd broken up. So to me, this is what they went out on. This is their last album, and I mean, what a freaking way to go out. You start with "Come Together," an amazing bass riff, and "Something," just one of the most gorgeous George Harrison songs, one of their best love songs. Maxwell Silverhammer is goofy. That goes into "Oh Darling," which is fantastic. "Octopus's Garden," my favorite Ringo song of all time. And then the amazing jam that just builds and builds and builds. "I Want You, She's So Heavy." It's amazing. And then you flip over to side 2 and you start with another tune we could all use right now, "Here Comes the Sun." Just Harrison was really hitting his stride here, just writing hit after hit. The eerie but incredible "Because," and then we go into the suite, Paul McCartney's suite here to end the song. I believe it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, yeah, 8-song suite to close the album. Starts off with "You Never Give Me Your Money," "Sun King," "Mean Mr. Mustard," "Polythene Pam," "She Came In Through the Bathroom Window." That little run right there is fantastic. Goofy Beatles songs at their best. They all fit right together, and then the ending trio is just... That's when I knew. When I listened to this album maybe for the second or third time, and those 3 songs came up at the end, it just cemented its place as a perfect album, one of my all-time favorites. And it's just fantastic. The ballad-like structure of "Carry That Weight," I'm sorry, not "Carry That," "Golden Slumbers," and how it just seamlessly flows into the rocker that is "Carry That Weight." And then the end. I mean, they're the Fab Four. They're called the best band of all time for a reason. And their ending track is just amazing. Everybody gets a solo. I love Ringo's drum solo. I love playing that solo. Everybody gets a great guitar part. And "Love You." Love you. I mean, it just encapsulates what the Beatles were. They wrote about love, and the love you make, it will come back to you. And that's just what we got to keep thinking in these trying times. Pop on Abbey Road, pop on one of the older albums, pop on anything. The Beatles, they did not release any bad music. They're one of the best bands of all time for a reason. They're one of my favorites, and Abbey Road is the cream of the crop for me. So there you have it. Beatles discography rank. I'll go back through it. I'll recap. So at the bottom, they have 12 studio releases, if you don't count the soundtrack, Yellow Submarine. But I'll start at the bottom. So at number 12, we got "With the Beatles" from 1963. At number 11, from 1964, "Beatles for Sale." Number 10, debut, 1963's "Please Please Me." At number 9, we got 1965's "Hard Day's Night." And number 8, 1965's "Help." Number 7, we got 67's "Magical Mystery Tour." At number 6, we got 1970's "Let It Be." Number 5, we got 1965's "Rubber Soul." At number 4, we have 1966's "Revolver." At number 3, we've got 1967's "Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band." At number 2, 1968's "The White Album." And at number 1, we got 1969's "Abbey Road." So there you have it. Beatles, Sky. If I got any of those dates wrong, I apologize. I didn't have them written down there. It's just kind of going off the top of my head. But there you have it. Just the discography ranking of these guys, the Fab Four. I hope you enjoyed the first video here. And I know it's probably a little messy. It's very late here. It's 1:30 in the morning I'm doing this. But I figured I'd crank this out. I've been meaning to do this for a while. I'm just bored, just looking for something to do during this quarantine. Talk some music with people. I'm going to have a special guest on tomorrow, my good friend Andrew Lamb. He'll probably be on a lot of these episodes. But tomorrow we're going to be talking about post-Pinkerton Weezer. So that's a topic that's been talked about a lot. And me and Andrew, we have a different idea than what a lot of people have on post-Pinkerton Weezer. So you can look forward to that, I guess, if you're watching this late. I guess we're already into Saturday morning. But yeah, thank you for clicking on this video, watching it. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something about the Beatles. I hope this encourages you to go and check out their discography. You've probably already heard it if you're watching this video, but they're absolutely incredible. They changed my life in a big way when I really got into them. They continue to influence me as a musician, as a music lover, and I don't think I'll ever stop playing and listening to their music. And it's really just good music for this time, feel good music to lift us up in these hard times. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed. Please subscribe, like this video, drop a comment. I'd love to hear your rankings, and just get a discussion going about the Beatles. That's really what this is all about. I want to get to discuss music with all kinds of people, share my opinions, and just hear what you guys have to say. So yeah, please subscribe here to Original Fire Productions, and take care, guys. Stay safe. It's trying times right now, but guys like the Beatles, they'll get us through it. So I look forward to more videos. I look forward to talking to you again in the future. This was a lot of fun, and I'm excited to keep doing it with more bands and artists you love. Drop suggestions down for bands and artists you want to see. I know a lot of them, so if I've listened to their discography, I'll definitely be sure to make a video on it. Yeah, thanks again for watching. Appreciate it. Take care.